looks fine. Okay. That's fine then. We'll run it at lower bitrate. Anyway, let's talk about Mega Man 2. Mega Man 2, the music is, among the best video game music. And it's pretty memorable. Like, even though there are bad parts of the gameplay, just that I can't get a new PC because of crypto. Yeah, that's a problem. Alright, so where am I gonna put Mega Man 2? Mega Man 2... Dragon Quest also has very good music, but there's not nearly as much of it, and the gameplay, I think, is a little more tedious. What's nuts about Mega Man 2 music is that it's consistently good. Yeah. Not only is it very consistently good, some of the tracks are just complete bangers. And none of the tracks are bad. Like, it's not just consistently okay, or has a couple good songs, or has one or two great songs. It's all of it. Yeah. Well, and there's a lot that are just forgettable, but none of Mega Man 2's songs are even, like, bland. It's also before the stupid charge shot. More importantly to me, it's before the stupid slide. That's my biggest problem. I like the slide in 3. Boo. Boo this man. But I will say, Mega Man 2, what's wrong with the slide? First things first, the slide is very, very buggy in Mega Man 3, which is its initial outing. And that really ruins it for me. It's very frustrating to pull off in that game. I don't like the fact that there's a similar problem with the slide and the charge shot, which is then you have to make obstacles and enemies for those new mechanics to slot into to make them meaningful. So you have enemies now that you are intended to slide under their projectile, or like environmental hazards where you're supposed to slide through a tunnel, but there's no point to any of it. It doesn't feel new or important. It's just more crap. But we'll talk about that when I get to 3. With 2, as far as games for this year, that Mega Man or whatever you played with the stupid time slow, yeah, this is Mega Man 11. Not only has it got awful time slow, it's also got awful 3D art. It's honestly not the worst of the 3D art games, but it still looks pretty bad. And the time slow thing is stupid, but I'm gonna get to it. So I do want to put Mega Man 2 above Dragon Quest, because they're very similar games where they're early games, and I will replay both of them a lot of times, but I'm definitely going to play more Mega Man 2 than Dragon Quest. Maybe not as far as time investment goes, because if I play Dragon Quest 2 like 3 more times in my life, or Dragon Quest like 3 more times in my life, I will by default have played it more, like, for a longer time than even if I play like Mega Man 2 every week. But like, comparing it to Ender Lilies is a little tougher. But Ender Lilies has music that's just sort of there. I'm gonna bump it down because of the music. Smashing Spirits doesn't really have any music. And as short and tight as Smashing Spirits is, I think I'm gonna play it less. Now, how does it compare to CHR dollar sign? CHR dollar sign. Oof. This is a tough one. Because CHR dollar sign does have some funnily cool music. It's all just like weird programmed music. Yeah. I did that last night. The cool thing with CHR is that there's all the tutorials of stuff where you like build a nuclear reactor, and then there's levels where you have like an actual giant map where the way you're supposed to move forward is to build a nuclear reactor. But I wouldn't want to play it now. I think you would. I think you would enjoy it if you could get into it enough, which is never gonna happen. Yeah, I hate to do this to Mega Man 2, but oops. I think Mega Man 2, most people are going to, you know, mostly listen to the music again and maybe play it once or twice more. But I think CHR might be more interesting to experience now. Yeah. Yeah, I always read it as Chris. The 143 is the tile designation for the completely filled tile, completely filled indestructible structural tile in that game. So it's character ID 143. Even back in the day, the only reason I played Mega Man so much was because it was emulated flawlessly on a PDA. I mean, I've played all the Mega Man games a lot, and it was mostly because I got obsessed with Mega Man 9 and would go through and like play through the entire series. Less so 7 and 8, obviously, which I've only played like a handful of times each, but all of the like I call them the Tiny Sprite games rather than the NES games because some of them aren't on NES. What is your Mega Man creepypasta story? You're hearing it. The Sega Nomad? I don't think I even knew the Sega Nomad existed. Alright, Mega Man 3. Mega Man 3 similarly has a bunch of bangers. But it also has a much worse pacing. The whole Doc Robot stuff, the weapons are pretty bad. Like Top Spin is just completely buggy and broken. I hate the menu layout where they moved it to the bottom of the screen. I don't like the slide. I don't like the new mechanics with the slide. Some of the Robot Masters are pretty annoying. Yeah, it does have a sick intro tune. I like Proto Man's theme, but I don't like any of the Proto Man content. I think one of the Wily stages has a nice tune too. My favorite song is probably Magnet Man in 3. Now, how does it compare to the first Mega Man? I think it's probably a little better than the first Mega Man game, but only barely. and only if you're going to be playing like both of them in a set, I think it's a little bit more fun than trying to get through Mega Man 1. Proto Man is an actual Mega Man thing. Yeah, Proto Man is the prototype version of Mega Man that was created before Mega Man and had a faulty power system. And he was apparently abandoned by Dr. Light, who didn't want to repair his power system, and Dr. Wily found him and gave him a nuclear core or something like that. He's got a motorbike helmet and a scarf, as Sheeslop says, and he has the whistle theme. And he shows up in Mega Man 3 as like a mysterious like counterpart to Mega Man that shows up and like jumps around and shoots at you, and you have to shoot him a bunch, and then he blows open the path to go on with the level. And there's nothing, like, it's a weird narrative decision for Mega Man 3, because they don't, yeah, he's Mega Man's Meta Knight, kind of, but I don't know. It feels like they wanted to do more with him, but it's just so half-assed in the NES game. Because I don't think they even really have any cutscenes where he says anything in Mega Man 3. He just shows up at the very end, like, in the sky, and they play the whistle theme, and then they show, like, the countdown of all the different Robot Masters and their ID numbers, and then it says Proto Man, ID 00. And I guess you're supposed to have read maybe it was in the manual or something that Proto Man, who Proto Man was, but I'd like to play as Proto Man more than Mega Man. You probably would, because in the Mega Man 9 and 10, they actually have DLC modes to play as Proto Man, which you can see, I think if we get to Mega Man 9 content here, I think I did have a clip of me playing as Proto Man, and you get the slide, which you don't get from Mega Man in 9 and 10. I think I never did play the DLCs. They're cool. I pirated Mega Man 9 and 10 anyways. Well, the Steam release of, what was it, the Legacy Collection? Legacy Collection 2 has 9 and 10, and it comes with all of the DLCs for free, which is a pretty good deal, because there were a ton of DLCs. There was, like, the Endless Stage, there was also a bass mode in 10, where you could play as bass, and he could summon treble and fly around with him. A lot of fun. Anyway, Mega Man 3, it's alright as far as the Mega Man games go, but I would rarely play it over any of the other Mega Mans, unless I was doing, like, the entire series, and even then I would be kind of, like, grumpy. I think I had a decent time when I did the marathon earlier this year. I had a decent time with Mega Man 3. I was able to get through it without too much problems. But I definitely had more fun doing, like, 4 and 6, and obviously 9 and 10. But it's okay. 4, I like a good bit more than 3. 4 introduces the charge shot, which I know I agree with the issues with the charge shot, but I also think that just the overall level of quality in the game is a lot higher than the first 3. It's just a lot more consistent as far as like the quality of assets, the difficulty curve. I like the music, I like the stages, I like all of the bosses, I like most of the weapons, which is a lot of the Mega Man games just do not have very good weapon pools. There's almost all of them have like one or two weapons that you use 90% of the time, if anything, and then a bunch of crap that you only ever use against the boss that's weak, that is the weakness for it. Bone Man, Dust Man, Ring Man stage in music I like. Solar Man. Solar Man's weapon is great. Dive Man. Who's the Drill? Is it Drill Man? Wasn't Solar Man 10? Oh yeah, it's Pharaoh Man. But his shot, I think, is like solar something. I don't remember. I don't think it's Pharaoh shot, is it? So yeah, I really like Mega Man 4, and Mega Man 4 is probably one of the... It's probably the NES Mega Man that I would play on its own, like independent of any other games. Like not part of me trying to play through all the Mega Mans or something like that. Because I think it's also pretty consistent as far as like you can get through it without knowing the exact ideal order of what to do, which you can't really say for most Mega Mans. Like it's possible, but it's too frustrating. So I think it definitely goes above Dragon Quest. Because it's way less of an investment, way less tedious to replay through than Dragon Quest. Ender Lilies. I think I do like it better than Ender Lilies. And Smashing Spirits. I really like Smashing Spirits, and I want more people to play it, but I think Mega Man 4 is just a little bit better than that. But would I put it above Mega Man 2? I would say people will probably have more fun playing Mega Man 4, but I think it's more important for someone who hasn't played it to play through Mega Man 2. The music is so good, and you know, the experience of going through Mega Man 2, if you haven't yet, especially. Mega Man 2 is a classic. Yeah, but is 4 good enough to be better to play through? I don't know. Try to get over the, like, cultural significance? I guess. I mean, the other thing is that 4 does still continue the trend of bad pacing with the Dr. Cossack stages, which are so forgettable and just... they're just nothing. Dr. Cossack is fun. I don't even remember anything about those stages, though. And it's just padding. I remember Dr. Cossack. Well... no, because there were definitely stages in Mega Man 2 where I stopped playing during the marathon and was like, oh, let's just listen to the intro of this song. Like, let's just enjoy this. And I never did that with Mega Man 4. I would, like, be enjoying the music as I played through the stage. 80% of what you want as a first impression is sick music. Yeah. Yeah, I think Mega Man 2 is just a lot more memorable as far as that goes. Mega Man 4 does a really great job evening out all of the hills and valleys of Mega Man, but that makes it just a little blander than Mega Man 2. And even though it's more enjoyable on average to play through, I think Mega Man 2's just got an edge on it. Mega Man 2, but start with Metal Man is written on the card. That's fair enough. Alright, now we get to the easier ones. Mega Man 5. I've never really liked Mega Man 5 compared to the other NES ones. It's got a lot of really terrible ideas. It's got the like jet ski auto scroller. It's got a couple auto scrollers if I remember correctly. One of the robot masters is a choo-choo train, and he's really annoying to fight. And then on top of that, a lot of the it's got a terrible middle section with the Proto Man or Break Man castle, and all of those robots that you fight as part of that are really awful fights. The first one is just as annoying to fight as the Charge Man fight. And they're all really bland designs. There's nothing going on with them. Most of them only have like one move. Napalm Man's N-Bomb is super disappointing because it's just a regular bomb. Yeah, that's a problem. It does get a slight boost for the fact that you do get the N-Bomb, but I don't know, it's not enough. The music is bad too. Yeah, I can't think of any single track that I like in Mega Man 5. Maybe what is it? It's not Galaxy Man. Starman? Is Starman stage music good? I don't even remember. Gravity Man. Was it Gravity Man? I thought it was... There's Gravity Man and Starman, right? Maybe Gravity Man is the music that I'm thinking of. Either way, it's not good. I mean, it's fine as far as an NES platformer, but it's not as much better than most NES platformers as even, I'd say, Mega Man 2. Because it's got a lot of really irritating stage choices, a lot of really irritating fights, and not enough to make up for it. So I would say... Would I put it above Cathedral? Because Cathedral's just kind of bland and doesn't have enough character. But it's not bad. It's not bad. Same with Kaze and the Wild Masks. Control Override is interesting, but it's tough to tell somebody that they should play it because there's not enough going on there. Did I see Cathedral? Let me pull Cathedral up real quick. You might have. I streamed a little bit of it. Cathedral was this one. It was the Monster Boy or Wonder Boy kind of game where you play as a suit of armor. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it was just kind of bland. Like, it was a functional and, you know, mechanically well-made Wonder Boy ripoff game, but it just all the stages drag on a little too long, and there's just not enough independent character. It had like 3 tunes. The 3 tunes were okay, but the stages dragged on so long that you started to notice where it was looping, and that's part of what makes Mega Man music great, is that you only ever hear like a couple loops of it, of each track. So yeah, that was Cathedral. So yeah, Mega Man 5. I kind of want to put it below this, and then Haffle says Mega Man 5 is no Ertugrul Ghazi. I would still say people should play this over Mega Man 5 over Ertugrul Ghazi. Control Override's gonna frustrate you less, though. And I want to give a little bit of credit to whatever guy sat down and made Control Override and got nothing for it. Because that's a little bit more impressive than making the 5th Mega Man game and it kind of sucking. If you've only got 3 tracks, they need to be really good ones. You need to make more than 3 tracks for a game that is that long. They can't even just be great tracks. Because if you played Mega Man 2 and it was just the first Wily stage theme and Quickman's theme and Flashman's theme, and that was all the music in the game, we would not be talking about how good Mega Man 2's music is. We would say, oh yeah, it had, it had some good tracks, but it was, they went on too long. It only had like one stage, one track for this, the Robot Master stages, one track for the Wily stages, and then one track for the boss fights or something. It's weird they could only get 3 tracks. I mean, they might have just cheaped out. I think what happened is they kept expanding these zones in Cathedral, and they just didn't have... like, they just said, well, we've got the song for this zone, and then they kept building the zones out. I think that's probably what happened. Alright, I gotta run pee. I'll be right back. I'm back. You'd probably just find some decent existing music with like 30 views. Yeah. But that would probably take longer than just like knocking out your own track. I don't know. I don't know anything about music, even video game music. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I'm like basically artistically bereft. I can't draw a picture to save my life. I can't like string a couple notes together. Let's Plays are art. It's more like performance. It's not really art. Art, I think you have to like compose something. Streams are not Let's Plays. Okay, fair enough. I don't think I've ever done a Let's Play that wasn't basically a stream. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. So Mega Man 6. I like Mega Man 6 a lot. I have a real soft spot for Mega Man 6. Even though it's got some real problems. It's way too easy, and the whole armor switching thing is really annoying. Porn is the frontier of art. Maybe. But I do still enjoy playing through Mega Man 6. I like some of the stages a lot. But it's also kind of a big disappointment to me because I feel like a lot of the stages have cool gimmicks that don't get utilized enough. Like Blaze Man and Centaur Man's stage has the upside down water that moves up and down. So I don't know. It's a pretty gimmicky Mega Man, but it's not an annoying gimmick like the slide. And well, it's pretty annoying. But I would rather play it than Mega Man 3. And I would rather play it than Crown Trick again. Same, I think, with Lego Star Wars Complete Saga. But I'm definitely going to play Sultan Sanctuary again at some point. Tomahawk Man's music is a classic track. I preferred... my favorite is Flame Man. The jetpack is fun. Yeah, it's good looking, but the problem is a lot of the environments are just not very detailed. Like it feels like it should look better for as late as it is in NES. Tomahawk Man is less endearingly racist. What about Yamato Man? Yeah, I like the stage gimmick of Flame Man's stage. I really like the music. I like all of the mechanics in Flame Man's stage, like the little puffer guys that you jump on. Master of Flame. I like the little readouts for when you go to each Robot Master with all their stats that don't mean anything. It's very cute. But I hate this. I hate the transformation thing. I'm gonna put it below Sultan Sanctuary, but above Lego Star Wars 1. It's replayable, but not imminently replayable. I think the jetpack rocks, but the punch sucks. Yeah, the punch just doesn't have any... You come upon a block that can break from it, and you go into the menu and you switch to it and punch the block and get whatever's in it, and then you switch back. It's completely meaningless. Alright, Mega Man 7. Why isn't she Slop talking about this in voice chat? Yeah, why aren't you talking about it in voice chat? Because his internet couldn't keep up. Yeah. Because my throat's... Hey.
It's working.
Yeah.
Working.
Oh yeah, it's working.
Great.
Did you mute your stream?
Yeah, I'm going to have to figure that out. Now I'm just going to echo and see how it goes.
Oh, good, good.
The stream's muted now.
Okay.
So I can't hear the Mega Man music.
Oh. Oh no. Well.
Yeah, I'll live.
Yeah.
Good enough.
We've gotten to Mega Man 7, which I don't think you have any opinions on the Super Nintendo ones.
No, God, I do. I can't stand any of them. I think 7 is the absolute worst. And Mega Man X is like okay, but I still don't like it.
Yeah.
This one, look at the size of that fucking sprite. It's like takes a quarter of the screen.
It's like the
Looks
Game
dumb.
Boy games.
Yeah. I didn't play the Game Boy Mega Mans, if there are any.
Yeah.
The Game Boy Mega Mans. They're not just like ports.
No, they're so they use Roman numerals for the numbers. That's the main way you can tell them apart when you're talking about them. And then
Classy.
Yeah, they have. I think they have some of the same robot masters, but not like the full sets, if I remember correctly, from each game. And then they have the Mega Man Hunters or whatever they're called. Like I don't even remember any of their names, honestly. But they have like some unique bosses. But the platforming is all this like giant sprite, like super pixel perfect platforming because there's not enough screen real estate to have you.
The thing is, people say that in terms of what am I thinking? It's like
Metroid
Mario's
2.
where people say no, like Wario is the perfect Game Boy game because that screen has so much ghosting. But I never had any trouble with Mario Land, the first one, which was like.
Well, no, because they designed it differently than the NES Mario's. They had
the tiny sprite.
Yeah, the tiny sprite, which is fine. The tiny enemy sprite. Yeah, I always preferred the first Mario Land game.
Yeah, me too.
And I think they made a huge mistake going giant sprites for the later ones. I mean, Wario is fine.
I was gonna say, yeah, Wario is great.
Yeah, but it's a totally different
Mario
kind of game.
shit.
It's not a platformer. It's not an action platformer. It's like an adventure platformer or something.
Tedium platformer. Where's Bosch? I want to make fun of him because I know he's a big fan of the second Mario Land.
Yeah. Well, he's not here, so don't you feel bad?
Should be here.
Well, call him.
Don't.
Call him.
I feel better calling Bosch an idiot.
Get him in here. Wario Land is a step platformer. Are you still taking heat for that?
Oh, step platform. Oh, you know, I found out the answer to my fucking question. It was Shadow Man.
Shadow Man.
Yeah, I found out that was the game I was asking about. You know, I said, did they make a game that's like Shadow Man sucks, by the way, but I thought, here's how it's going to go. Obviously, Tomb Raider is a popular game at the time, and someone's going to make a game like Tomb Raider that isn't Tomb Raider. But it's got more of like a Metroidvania kind of structure to it.
Yeah.
You know, more open world. And I thought that's like the perfect game for a weirdo like me.
And you were right. It was Shadow Man, and it was the perfect game for you because you get to complain about it and say that it's not good.
Exactly. There's bits I like about Shadow Man, but I just think it never really lets off with the stupid setting.
Yeah. Well,
so everything sucks and is miserable all the time, and it's like, come on, you need something. You need like a couple of houses or something.
It was based on a comic book, wasn't it?
Was it not like a Earthworm Jim thing where they made a comic book afterwards?
No.
Or they tried to make a comic.
Was it?
I don't know. Was it a comic? It's one of the comics nobody read. It's not like it's based on what's the guy?
Walking
it's
Dead.
Based. No, it's based on Spawn. You know the guy with the cape.
Oh, Spawn.
Yeah, it feels like it was kind of like trying to be Spawn. I never read Spawn.
Yeah, I can see
I've
that.
seen the movie.
Well, we need to get Phallic Baldwin in here too. We need to get Phallic Baldwin and Borsch in here to talk over us.
But no, it is very much the exact game. I knew it fucking exists because it's like a combination of everything shit from that era at once, like Tomb Raider's gameplay, and then Spawn's setting, because obviously didn't think about it.
Yeah.
Just these things are popular right now. We'll copy this, and of course, it's a British studio, so.
Oh, it was.
It's gonna be a bad game. I think so.
I thought it was an American studio.
No.
No.
It's Acclaim.
I don't know, but
it was remade by Night Dive.
Yeah. Well, Night Dive remakes everything.
Exactly. It's just some shock.
Are you excited for the new System Shock? That garbage. That garbage. Come on.
I like the cyberspace. I watched the video playthrough the demo because my PC wouldn't run it, but I thought cyberspace actually looks genuinely good. So I play the game just to see cyberspace me. But
you just like the stupid charge pistol.
No, I think the charge pistol was cool in the original because it has the whole slider and the overcharge, and you use your battery power. It's great when you first play the game. I mean, the actual System Shock.
Yeah.
Because it kind of is a bit panic-inducing because you feel like, oh crap, I'm using some limited resource here. What setting should I have it on? So you're kind of fiddling around with it, trying to find out which is best. And of course, you just set it to high and forget about it in reality. But a little bit where you're not sure.
You know, what's similar to that is I've been playing through Into the Radius, which is basically VR Stalker.
Oh, that sounds good.
And well, like the graphics are super crude, and you know, it's tough to recommend. But there is a neat thing where there's different ammo types, and but because you have to physically manipulate your magazines and all of the individual rounds that you put into the magazines, you've got like
That's,
4 pouches on the front of your chest for magazines, and actually swapping magazines to go from like AP rounds to cheaper rounds or whatever, depending on what you're fighting. It's genuinely a little panic inducing, and I do like fumble and drop the magazine.
that's what I want from a VR game. I mean,
There-
the only VR games I only played. What was it? No, Mr. Bomb Expected to Die. What was that game called again? Expected to Die, something like that. You know, it's kind of sound like James Bond.
I expect you to die. Yeah, you told me
Yeah.
you played through that.
It's the only VR game I've played, and I thought it was okay. But I really want to play something a bit more, action-packed, where you can walk around like super hot.
I don't know if I would really recommend Super Hot for like a VR game. Like it is more actiony, but it's also just kind of there's not really much to it. Is the problem? One thing
see that.
I
What I
would
really want to play is
yeah.
Resident Evil 4, of course. That actually looks genuinely pretty good.
It's pretty good. There's not much added to it from the VR, but it's still neat to be able to like the thing that
Wield?
well, yeah, you can obviously, but the thing that surprised me that I really enjoyed about it was being able to just get up super close to all of the weird like one-off assets, like the portraits and stuff that you never really get a good look at, and you get to like
Yeah, they remade them, like they did fancier textures and stuff.
not fancier textures, but it's just things
I'm
that
sure... No, the big one is the Merchant, because I've been watching a guy's Let's Play.
yeah.
And the Merchant, I'm sure he had glowing eyes, because he was supposed to be that, people theorized, a game theory, that he was a Gyarados himself,
Uh-huh.
because he had like yellow eyes or something. But in this one, he just looks normal.
I don't know. I
I
didn't
didn't
pay
bother
attention
looking
to
into
that.
it. But I just think I remember people at the time talking about that.
Yeah. Now, like the switches in the caves where you fight all the flying bug guys.
Oh yeah, it's like Egyptian or whatever.
Yeah. There's
middle of
like
Spain.
hieroglyphs on them and stuff like that. There's like weird Mayan style like paintings, like cave paintings or
On the
something.
island.
Yeah, it's all pretty weird. It's sort of like JoJo's or something. But yeah, I like that. But if you like wanted to play a VR game, the one that I would recommend to you would be The Walking Dead: Saints and Sinners, which is
That
like
has the famous ladder climbing, right? Everyone loves that. Where you climb ladders with your two hands.
what?
Oh god, I don't know. I think I have things to say from VR games I haven't played. I'm saying the only thing I've seen is a couple of clips that way you climb the ladders with your hands. and that looks
Okay.
stupid. Like really dumb, but kind of cool at the same time.
Well, the thing that's cool about it is that I don't know, it succeeds at being a real game in VR in a way that most VR games just aren't. Most VR games are super thin on like actual gameplay. Like they either turn into weird arcade things because they expect you to play it in like bursts of 5 minutes at a time or whatever.
Yeah, even seeing the video playthrough of Resident Evil 4, is like it looks like it could do with another layer of stuff to it.
Yeah.
I like how it plays with the laser sight on, which looks like it makes it kind of dumb. That's why I want to play it, because I keep thinking, if you didn't have a laser sight, that might actually be more interesting.
Well, there's a big problem with that, which I did try out turning off the laser sight because I had the same thought you did.
Does it make the sniper rifle useful?
Well, the rifles are fine because the way they handle that is when you bring it up to your shoulder, basically.
Yeah, it goes in the scope.
It goes into the scope mode, and it's actually like pretty accurate. But the problem with turning off the laser sights for like the pistols is that they did not change the actual 3D models of the pistols whatsoever.
So it's still got a big dumb laser sight on that just isn't switched on.
Well, more
Oh, it
importantly,
hasn't got sights.
no, it has sights, but the sights are
tiny.
not lined up.
Oh,
because
interesting.
because you know Leon is not actually using the sights or anything, and when you're playing it in third person, you can't tell that it's not lined up with where the bullets are going. So you're actually like shooting way above. I think it's like it's like a good couple inches above from like 30 yards or something, or 30 paces or whatever. Like I played around with it, and it's really, really frustrating. Because
I didn't pay. Was it £1,000 with the
yeah, getting your Vive or whatever. No, I would not recommend getting a headset for Resident Evil 4 VR.
It's not other games really. No, the thing I noticed with hot dogs and hand grenades was sights being tiny. So like you want to have a big revolver. You do the whole stance. You put your thumb in your belt and everything.
Yeah.
And you can't see the sights at all because of the resolution.
Well, the reason
you have to like hold it up next to your eye and feel stupid.
The reason I picked up Receiver 2, this is related to that. The reason I picked up Receiver 2 was because I saw that somebody was showing off the VR beta for it. And I was like, oh, that looks kind of cool. Like, it's real physical, like, you putting rounds into the revolver and then putting the cylinder back and stuff like that. I thought that would be cool. But once I actually played it, like, it's so poorly implemented, and the guy clearly has no interest in actually working on the VR beta of it. And one of the things I realized playing through it, one of the optimizations that isn't in the VR beta for Receiver 2 is that you cannot fucking see the sights. You cannot see the sights because when you're holding a gun up at like arm's length, it's so far away that even with a decent headset resolution, you need to have some sort of optimization to make something that far away a little clearer or larger or sharper. And there's none of that. It's just treated like any other object that far away, so it's blurry. So you can't see your pistol sights.
Would it offer anything that any other VR game doesn't as well? Because there's a whole bunch of VR games that are like devoted to, we're going to make really realistic firearms, and you have to
squint
and release. No, I mean the whole loading it one round at a time. Like Hot Dogs and Hand Grenades does that, and I think a few other games must copy it, right?
Oh yeah.
And have things to shoot at, because it's not a receiver as much to shoot at. You get robots, you get the drones and the turrets.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, as far as VR games go, I think robots and turrets is probably a better move than having to have like really dumb human AI that can't move around much, because most people aren't going to be moving around much in VR.
They got the whole component damage to it,
Yeah. Where you can like shoot out the leg or whatever.
Yeah, I just wish there was more to them, because as it is, you aim for the thing, either you destroy it or you don't. There's no real midway point. Except for the occasional time you hit a turret and it stops rotating, but it's still active.
Yeah, a little bit more like mechanical implications to those would be good. So where should we put Receiver 2 now that I've roped you into talking about that?
Well, I'm going to pretend it's exactly the same as Receiver 1 with nicer graphics and suicide thing to get you there a couple of times.
Yeah.
That sounds funny, actually. I like that.
The suicide, what do they call threat echoes? The thing that bothered me about those, I was fine with the idea of them when I encountered them, and, every time I'd pick up a tape and it would start being like, I'm a failure, and you're like, fuck, unload my gun.
That's what I mean, though, just having like a timer to unload your gun.
Yeah.
It sounds like a pretty cool if it's the first time it happens and it's like, turn around and you think, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
I could see it being cool if the trailer didn't give it away.
I didn't watch the trailer, so it caught me off guard. But the thing
it's like the only new feature they have to sell, so of course they put it in the trailer.
But the thing that really bothered me about them, and I mentioned it in my post, is every time you find a new one of those, it unlocks like the ability to re-listen to it, on your own time, just like every other tape. But it also unlocks a appendix, or appended thing, a note talking about how they got better after they wrote that note.
I was going to say it's going to be a suicide hotline tip or something.
Kind of, and every single one of those always felt fake to me, where some of the suicide notes sounded way too real, and I was like, some of these suicide notes are probably real suicide notes, and I don't think they got better.
Oh, jeez.
That kind of put me off. I would rather them have just been like left alone and no details about like the person behind them or whatever, and not trying to tell me that like, but luckily no one was injured.
Yeah, the best off leaving it just so you think they're good writers, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, we went into he got into therapy, and it's like, no, stop, please don't do that.
And load his pistol in time.
Yeah, he unloaded his pistol and then pointed at his face and pulled the trigger 5 times while shrugging and going, come on, I want to get back to it. I want to get back to binging, I don't know what show, Hoarders or something.
So Seinfeld, that's all I've been watching lately.
Oh, great. There was a
friend watching it.
There was a thing on CNN recently. The controversial episode of Seinfeld just turned 30 years old, and I was like, "What controversial?
Which one was it?
Yeah, they're all controversial." It was the contest.
That's controversial.
Apparently, the fact that they talked about beating off in a sitcom.
I was gonna say that there's more like subtle racism in Seinfeld and stuff. I hope.
There's a lot of not subtle racism in Seinfeld, to be honest.
Hey
Jerry, look what I got!
Oh, that episode's great. That's one of my favorites.
One of the best things ever on TV. All right. So, Receiver 2. I want to put it above Crown Trick because I had so much fun going through it. I really actually enjoyed the whole concept of it being basically like a safety training course where you're harshly penalized for fucking up.
Yeah, but it's got to lose points for being just a remake of a game that was already been in existence. I mean, for the sequel, you know, they had all these
big
resources
plans
to make something a bit more exciting.
Yeah.
I just think more robot types or something at least. I'm sure you could find a way to make Receiver interesting. Well, myself, I'll put zombies in it because I'm pathetic.
I mean, what would they have put in it though?
Well, firstly, the problem is it's a roguelike. It's a roguelike for the home computer.
Yeah.
And that is just tedious. I think if they had actual levels, it might have given them something to do. In terms of actually designing encounters.
I agree with needing actual levels. I like the enemy design, but
sometimes you have like a facility, and all of a sudden you have limited ammo that's been hand placed by the developers, and you have basically effective keys, and you go back and forth. And it's Resident Evil.
That sounds like a lot of work, bud.
It wouldn't be a lot of work. When you play like a million Metroidvanias, you know, you just need to put like a bunch of locked doors and keys, keys, crests, and.
Sheslop,
people to play through it.
Where's your roguelite Metroidvania?
I was working on it. Yeah. Actually, I did consider that briefly, but I didn't get anywhere with that idea.
Oh, that's familiar.
Oh yeah. Oh Christ, video games. The easy as hell to make, but it's hard to find someone else that wants to make it with you.
Yeah, that's the problem. No, they're easy to make. They're hell to make at all playable.
Well, the kind of game I wanted to make, it didn't really matter too much if it was playable or not. It just needed to be, you know, a vehicle for content.
Yeah.
The big C.
So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put Receiver 2 above Mega Man 3. Because
that's reasonable.
Because Mega Man 3 is the third Mega Man game, but Receiver 2 is only the second Receiver game. Right?
It's fine. If I played it by itself, I would have thought it was alright.
There you go.
I haven't played it at all, of course, but you know, I'm going to pretend it's like this.
Yeah.
It's just disappointing because I do think there's a lot of potential in it.
And then Mega Man 7, we've been avoiding talking about this for basically this entire time. Right at the bottom. No, there's no way. There's no way it's worse than NeoSense. It's an
Neosense.
actual game. Neosense was the puzzle game where you play as the girl in the wheelchair with the tumbler nose.
I missed that one. And thank God.
Oh yeah, it was bad. Mega Man 7 on the bottom because no one wants to talk about it. I don't know. There's some good things about Mega Man 7. It has bass and treble.
Does it have a single good tune? I don't remember any good music from it. I played that one. I didn't play the one after it. That was
Mega
on
Man
PlayStation
8?
or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mega
it
Man.
was PlayStation, right?
Mega Man 8, yeah, it was a PlayStation 1 and it had these awesome anime cutscenes.
Yeah, I'm seeing them right now. I think
Yeah.
that looks pretty.
Have you heard them,
Cheap.
by the way?
I think I have. They
the-
got like a really bad dub, right?
The
Like one of
yeah,
those fancy bad dubs.
the voice acting is phenomenal, especially for Dr. Light. They literally scraped a drunk hobo off the streets and handed him his lines while he was still like waking up. It's amazing. Definitely worth just like going through all of the cutscenes at least once. Like
I
having
gotta be honest
nothing,
though.
and it has
I've played-
nothing to do with the game either.
I think I played that after Mega Man 7. I would have been too pissed off really to find that funny. You know what I mean?
I mean, I was exhausted when I got to it during the marathon. Like, literally, like, dragging. And I was still cracking up at the cutscenes. It was a
It's really
joy.
bad.
Yeah.
I was still disappointed about Mega Man 7, you know. So I didn't play it at all. It's like Goemon on PlayStation. I bet that's a really funny game, but you're still gonna be disappointed that it wasn't, you know, like Goemon. Am I pronouncing that right at all?
Goemon? Yeah, I think so.
Goemon?
I think
Goemon.
so. Guimon.
Goemon.
I'm putting it above Neosense. Neosense is just so bad. Mega
I found
Man.
yesterday apparently gangsters did use pipes as weapons in Japan, which is pretty cool.
Well, I mean, yeah, they aren't allowed to have guns.
Yeah.
Like even like the most hardcore organized criminals are like, oh shit, a gun? What are you, crazy?
I think it's the area of swords, to be honest.
Well,
But,
they do use a lot of like swords and short blades and stuff like that, but that's just like,
keep them around.
well, I mean, people use knives for crime a lot in the UK because guns are harder to come by when you're not in the country.
I wonder if we get away with carrying a gigantic pipe in the UK.
Yeah. I mean, I think the pipe thing is just sort of a general improvised weapon thing. Like, a lot of people get hit with 2x4s too, because you get a lot of 2x4s laying around. Haffle says
Not in a minute.
Haffle says you can no longer buy
It's a price of wood
knives.
joke.
Yeah, I got it. Good
Thank
good joke. You can no longer buy knives in the UK. Is that true?
Probably. Oh, actually, yeah, I was trying to buy some scalpel blades recently, and I usually just buy them off eBay because they're the cheapest you can find them. But I couldn't find any on eBay at all, not a single scalpel blade. And I think what it is probably eBay has decided to preemptively ban the sale of knives on eBay, without mentioning it. And I was trying to find information, but I couldn't find anything. Just there's no scalpel blades whatsoever.
You sure
I
it's
had to order them from like an
not
art
just
supply
like
store,
a
like twice the price.
Is it not just a supply issue?
No, I found them elsewhere, no problem.
Yeah.
Just they're more expensive.
Not
And-
online.
Come on, if you got people scalping scalpels, then they're going to be selling them on eBay, aren't they?
Yeah. I caught that pun. Good pun. Gumball Dad's
you.
here. Oh, so is
It's
Big
Gumball Dad.
so is Big Biceps. Big Biceps had dibs on Dark Souls 2.
Oh my god, the stream died.
Oh no.
Just for me?
Now it looks like everyone else is refreshing too.
I better catch up.
Gumball Dad, check your PMs.
There's Gumball Dad.
Yeah. Is everything okay for everyone else or?
Oh, it's running for me after I refreshed it.
Okay. Okay, good. Alright, so Mega Man 8. I really do think it's better than Mega Man 7, not just in terms of
The sprite's smaller, that's all that matters to me.
the sprites are better animated.
Yeah, it looks nice and graphically, going by the gameplay clips.
Yeah, but the main thing I would put above it, honestly, is that the upgrade system is not great, but it's better because Mega Man 7 had the random bolts that drop from enemies, and you collect them and can grind up, enough bolts to buy like energy tanks or whatever, E-cans. And that always bugged me about like the later Mega Man games, even 9 and 10, where you can just like
9 where you just
you can brute
buy them for the
force
first
it.
stage.
And what Mega Man 8 does is instead there are preset giant bolt locations, and you collect those and you trade in a certain number of them for different like permanent abilities. And most of them suck. Like one of them I remember is just you can climb ladders faster. But that's still a better like upgrade system than being able to grind bolts to brute force energy tanks.
Yeah, I'm looking again now, Half-Life. I'm not seeing a single Scalpel Blade except for ones in China.
Jesus Christ.
And number 23 surgical blades. Buy it now, free postage from China.
Yeah.
23 watches.
23 watches.
Yeah, the rest of these are just like scalpel holders, forceps, and those cool boxes you dispose them in.
Yeah. But you already ordered some, right?
Yeah, I got more than enough to last me a whole week.
What are you doing with them?
Legal circumcisions.
Oh, okay. Doing back alley circumcisions. Sucking those kids dry.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, there's only 2 pages and I search for scalpel. Maybe we gotta search for scalpel blades. Scalpel blade. See if that comes up.
Yeah. Well, you just got put on the watch list.
Yeah, from Hong Kong, from China.
Yeah. I'm gonna put Mega Man 8 above Ertugrul Ghazi. Because even though Mega Man 8 has some problems,
Oh, I saw Ertugrul Ghazi.
Ertugrul Ghazi? Yeah,
Ertugrul Ghazi.
Yeah, that was the it's the like really low budget Mountain Blade kind of game, Turkish. At least it's not Mega
I'm
Man.
more offended by a game called Kaz and the Wild Masks.
Kaze and the Wild Mask was the Donkey Kong Country clone.
Oh, it sounds even worse now. Why
Yeah.
are you calling that? It's got great music, but it's not a good game.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, maybe I'll put Mega Man 8 above that even, because I think I'd rather play through Mega Man 8 again than Mega Man 5, if it's just by itself.
Wait a minute, Kaz and the Wild Masks.
Did you want to see it? I've got it.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Yeah, I just thought, for some reason I heard the name and I was thinking about it. I thought, yeah, it's because it's got like a ugly rabbit.
And this is a good comparison point too, because one of the problems Kaze had that FYB had with it is he hated the auto-scrolling segments, and there's a notoriously bad auto-scrolling segment in Mega Man 8, the Duck Duck Slide. What's this?
Slide.
It's the
It's on the Steam page.
So this is what Sheslop is laughing at. Yes,
that is pretty ugly.
That is pretty ugly, yeah. The cutscenes, there's no dialogue in them. They're like dialogueless cutscenes where these dumb rabbits just emote, and it's kind of bizarre.
Ugh.
Alright.
I'm glad I missed that one.
Yeah, Mega Man 8's auto-scroller is worse than the auto-scrollers in Kaze and the Wild Mask, but it has more going on for it, honestly. Oh, the other thing I really like about Mega Man 8 is it's the only Mega Man game that I can think of where your P shooter is a separate button from your whatever special weapon you have equipped at the time, so you can always use your P shooter. Yeah, I always thought that was a really great idea.
Does it have a charge shot though?
I don't remember.
No, that changed my perception, because if it does have a charge shot, that'd be just irritating.
Oh yeah, you would put it down at the bottom below Neosense.
Oh yeah.
Let's just pretend we don't know and move on. Mega Man 9.
Yeah.
Mega Man 9 is...
Oh, that's great. That's got to be right up near the top.
Mega Man 9 is it
I'll put
better?
it above 2 for sure.
I would put it above 2 easily. Like it's a great game to play through at any point. I would play through it on basically any given day if somebody was like play through all of Mega Man 9. Like even if I've had a shitty day and I'm exhausted, I'll be like, yeah, I can knock out a round of Mega Man 9 easy.
Well, like most Mega Man players, I just listen to the soundtrack on YouTube.
Well, I mean, and even then, like, it's a great soundtrack. It's just
is.
like Mega Man 2. It's got some all-time great songs. It's got every other song is very good at least, and none of them
I'm
are
trying to think if there's any
forgettable.
bad songs.
I don't think so. I really
Jewel
don't
Man,
think
maybe?
so. Which one?
I can't remember Jewel Man's.
Ah, Jewel Man's good.
Isn't it? That's kind of, well, Plug Man.
Plug Man is your fursona.
Oh my. I was trying to remember Plug Man's music. I think it's got like a bit of a
Hang on, I'll just
that
pull it.
sound.
I'll just pull it up.
It's
here.
got a Nintendo Entertainment System sound. You know the one?
Plug Man.
Yeah. Man, it's just been a while since I listened to it, to be honest, so I don't remember it. I was remember Tornado Man.
No,
Concrete
it's
Man.
got kind of industrial. Here, I sent you a link.
Alright, let's go listen.
There's a sexy girl robot in 9.2, Sephi says. Yeah, it was also it was the first female robot master. With Splash
Going
Woman.
into Robot Master Beta.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember Plug Man now. It has that. What do you call it sound? I'm not good with music myself. Like that sort of tinny sound that the NES does.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool sounding. And Mega Man does it a lot.
Well, and this is Mega Man 9, so they didn't have to do that. They managed to recreate the sound and graphics and effects of the NES without necessarily sticking to the actual constraints.
No flicker.
Yeah, no flicker, no lag. They did a phenomenal job replicating that, and they didn't cheat in ways that they did later on with like the Bloodstained game. I remember you complained about the fact that they had like the giant dragon sprite go over the UI and stuff like that in that. Or maybe it wasn't you. Maybe it was someone
It
else.
was me because I don't remember seeing that at all.
Well, anyway, yeah, Mega Man 9, they did such a good job of replicating the old style.
They got rid of the great musicians and got the crap old one back. Mega Man 10.
Mega Man 10 has some okay songs. It's fine.
Solar Man stage is great. I think that's a really excellent song.
Yeah,
But
so
the rest of them are kind of mediocre.
trying to think if there's any standouts for me. I honestly kind of like the Strike Man's theme, the sports. It's like a sports stadium song. Let me see.
I remember the stage, but I don't remember the music.
Fireballs. After the intro, I think.
Alright. Oh, listen.
Dustman was drawn by the guy that draws the One Punch Man manga when he was a kid. Is that true?
Oh yeah, no, I remember all the little chimes it has.
Yeah.
What do you call that?
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay. That's the problem though. Is Mega Man 9 was really good.
Yeah.
So just okay. Just
Well, that's
go.
the whole existence of Mega Man 10. Is Mega Man 9 set the bar so high there was no way that Mega Man 10 could cross it.
I was never gonna cross it, but just getting closer to being I'd have been happy with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Needed more than like one actually good track.
Yeah.
And
So-
stages are
Wh-
okay as well, I suppose.
What do you think about 9 and CHR $?
Ooh. I think I put 9 above that just because it had this little bit of hope to it as well. I thought
Yeah,
it was cool.
yeah.
It was like, wow, it actually made a good game. Because it's like years of them making like crap. I mean, if it wasn't for Mega Man 9, we probably wouldn't have like 2 good Sonic games.
Well,
So that's the,
and it was also big for Inti Creates too, right? Like they made a ton of good games since then.
did they? What did they make?
Inti Creates?
Yeah, I never thought I'd look that up, to be honest.
Yeah, I
Probably
mean,
from indie games in general.
they were the ones that were initially making the Mega Man Zero games.
Was it before Bionic Commando Rearmed or after?
It was after.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Inti Creates. Hey Mac, come on, come here. They made Gal Gun. They made all the Blaster Master Zero games. Mac, leave it. Mighty Number 9. These are some
Well, that
classics.
was actually in.
No, I think they got on to like clean it up. It was developed by Concept, and then I think they Inti Creates was porting it or something.
Well, they've been around for a while, 1998.
Yeah, they were originally former Mega Man, I think X
They sell the
developers
ZX P+1.
they
The
made
other
the-
ones that no one ever played.
Yeah, they made the Zero series for GBA, and that was how they eventually got on for Mega Man 9.
Galgun.
Yeah, all the
I don't familiar title.
all the Shantae games.
Oh yeah. Oh, all of them.
Well, I think so, right? No, Way Forward is the Shantae people. Inti Creates, I
was
think,
gonna
just
say.
does the porting.
Ah.
Crayon Shin-Chan game. I don't know.
Pac-Man the Ghost Adventure.
Azure Striker Gunvolt.
Yeah, Gunvolt, that's one I was looking for when I heard Galgun, because I thought, oh, that sounds like Gunvolt, which is a game that I thought was not as good as people said it was. I didn't
Yeah,
understand that one.
it's interesting. I appreciate the Gunvolt games, but I know they're not made for me. They're made for people who obsessively like repeat stuff. It's like the people who play Devil May Cry, trying to like
Ugh.
get a like really high ranking on something.
Ronnie, games for Ronnie.
Yeah, Ronnie games. Level 5 Concept made the game. Yeah. The new Blaster Master games are cool, says Sephi. Yes.
Yeah, so I played one of them.
I've got one of them on my list for this year. I played through Blaster Master 03. It was alright. Gunvolt was just Mega Man Zero clones. Not quite. It's got a little bit more of the ranking system stuff.
They're floaty and they've got like this weird system of like you have to tag people
Yeah,
with a gun that doesn't actually do damage until you fire electricity and then it does damage.
Yeah, you have
It
like
just
an
feels
AoE,
really-
and it only works against stuff that you've tagged. And then you've got like really weird special abilities that aren't quite as good as the weapons in Mega Man games. They're more like tertiary things that you do.
Is everything feels indirect and I don't want to say floaty. Like what would the word be? Like you're not directly doing it. It's like Panzer Dragoon, you know. It's like you don't really feel like you're shooting stuff. You just kind of like
Targeting stuff.
things are happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Mega
Indirect.
Man 9, I think I'm gonna leave Hero's Spirit above Mega Man 9, because as good as Mega Man 9 is,
It's too obvious to be number one.
well, not just
two.
not just that, but also, like, I don't think there's anything surprising or new about it. It's very, very good.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's very good, but it's also it's riding on being a Mega Man made game that's pretty
good.
good.
Yeah, it's
If
a
it wasn't
Mega
for the
Man game
Man
that's
games, you
actually
wouldn't care
good.
as much.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm gonna put it there. And Mega Man 10. Where's that gonna go? Mega Man 10. I mean, just judging it from the other
Above
Mega
5,
Man
and
games.
below 4. Nah, I'd say above 3 as well.
So above 3,
Just
I've
to be controversial.
got Mega Man 6 above 3, and below 4.
I'll have it below 6.
Below 6.
Yeah, 6
Yeah.
has like 2 stages I like, whereas 5 only has 1 stage that I like.
You mean 10?
Yeah, 10, sorry, I'm distracted.
Okay.
Look at that picture again. I'm feeling a bit nauseous.
No, I did not.
Hmm?
I didn't notice whatever you were doing. I'm looking at my own list.
Oh, I said I was looking at that picture again.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
the Kaze and the Wild Mass picture.
yeah. His painting is making me dizzy.
Let's see. Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga. I like Lego Star Wars, but I think I'd rather play Mega Man 10. What? What?
They look like they're okay to play, but they're miserable to watch.
Oh,
Except for the cutscenes. They're pretty funny, the cutscenes, I think.
The Lego games, yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
then that's still something over Mega Man 10, which is just kind of bland throughout. Like, Mega Man 10's cutscenes are not great.
Ah, cutscenes. Was that the one with Robo Flu, or was that?
Yeah,
was that
yeah,
9?
yeah. It was Robo Inza.
Yeah.
Startlingly,
Coronavirus.
startlingly prescient that Dr. Wily created a fake disease and then tried to get all of the robots vaccinated.
Hmm.
I'm putting it right under Mega Man 6. I would
Yeah, that's a good
just
place to put
I
it.
would just barely rather play Mega Man 6 than Mega Man 10.
Well, it comes down to the fact that I like Solar Man's music. I think.
Is that enough?
I mean, you know, Mega Man 9, Mega Man 10,
Yeah.
and Mega Man 2 are classics. Mega Man 4 I like, but the rest of them just comes down to do I like the music or not.
Yeah.
They're kind of interchangeable, aren't they?
There's a couple good tracks in Mega Man 6. There's I could only really think of 1 or 2 in Mega Man 10. Although
Yeah, same.
I do really like the Wily the Puyo Puyo Devil in Mega Man 10, where it forms out of the blocks surrounding the room, and then it turns into a twin devil sort of thing.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Okay.
Played the game once and I was a bit disappointed by it.
Speaking of, I've played the game once and I was a bit disappointed by it. Mega Man 11, with the time or bullet time mechanic, and 3D graphics, and a lot, like more voice clips than in Mega Man 8. Where in Mega Man 8 you go into the boss arena and they immediately quip at you. Mega Man 11 has even more of that.
You had like several lines, didn't it? Just on the assumption that you're gonna die.
Yeah, they trash talk you for dying.
It was pretty good. I like that. No, seriously, I think it's part of like the Mega Man Powered Up. Was that you play as all Robot Masters and have different things to say to each other?
Yeah.
I like that kind of thing.
I get it. But Mega Man 11, I did not like it. The lines were really lame. Like this guy, he goes, "Time to diode" or something like that. They're all
Hey, you don't
just
expect them to be good.
no, they're not.
You weren't good at Mega Man Powered Up either, except for everyone kind of making fun of Elecman for sounding gay.
Well, that wouldn't fly now, would it?
It was more he's a theatre guy,
Yeah,
but you know it's implied.
thespian. So would I put Mega Man 11 above or below Mega Man 7? Because
That's
that's
above. 7's terrible.
yeah, but 7 has bass and treble. I don't know what else 7 has though.
Gigantic sprites, ugly graphics,
Yeah,
no good music.
the sprites are worse than the 3D graphics.
Oh, you see it on the
because
screen
they're
right now the water stage
Mm-hmm.
on 10. That I'm remembering that and thinking, ooh,
Yeah. Yeah, so you say below Mega Man 7, above Neosense? I mean, you would probably put it below Neosense.
I want to put it really low just to spite it because it is a really rubbish direction for the Mega Man to go after. You know,
Yeah, it's
10.
it's
Well, it has
shocking.
been 10 years.
It's shocking that they were like trying to chase Mighty Number 9 for
When did it come out?
Mega Man 11 just like 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah, I thought it was recent.
Mega...
It's gotta be better than 7. Anything's better than 7. I don't know what Neosense is, but it's gotta be better than 7.
2018 was when Mega Man 11 came out. So about 3 years ago now. So it wasn't that long ago. It's got all of these extra modes too, like the online stuff where you can watch people do stupid challenges, like get through stages without jumping by repeatedly using the knockback from the drill weapon to climb.
Actually, I think the whole slowdown thing that kind of ruins it. It's like I would never want to play that game just because of that.
Yeah, it
There's
doesn't
a few bits
help.
that looked. There's a few bits that look kind of fun, you know, like I say the lasers and the whole forest catching on fire stuff. It's like, oh, that's like a fun stage, but then you have to use the slowdown. Yeah,
you're
forced to use it.
Yeah. The whole game is designed around the slowdown mechanic, even more so than the power up mechanic, like which is almost completely useless. And the problem with the slowdown mechanic is that it's just like the charge shot or the slide, where they introduce something and then you in order to get people to use it, you have to introduce scenarios where it's either required for you to go into slow-mo in order to get through something, or it's required for you to go without stopping and turning around and fucking around killing a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and if you're a high tier gamer like ourselves, then you'll try and get it through without it.
Yeah.
So you end up dying a lot.
Yep, that happened to me until I finally just went ahead and used slowdown
Accepted it, yeah.
every single screen. And then if you ever like overcharge it, you wind up having to sit around with your thumb up your ass waiting for the whole cooldown cycle. And so now rather than playing the game, you're waiting. And that's always fun in
Yeah,
an
like a weird-
action game.
Had a weird combination of like a cooldown, but also you could pick up items to make it cool down faster.
Yeah,
Just
except they
as you
never
pick them
put
up.
those items in a place that was actually convenient. It was always just in arbitrary spots.
Yeah,
I'm
Value
leaning
design
towards
game.
I'm leaning towards Halfle at putting Neosense above Mega Man 11.
ooh,
Because Neosense is just one or two people's failures probably.
yeah, that makes sense.
And Mega Man 11 is a failure of the entire development studio and everybody who okayed it.
Yeah, so it's disappointing on a higher level, isn't it? Like it's the future of gaming
Yeah,
kind of feeling.
Spock's saying that the E-Tank puzzle that I'm bringing up where is it here, that this is a good demonstration of the slowdown, and I agree, but on the other hand, like, it could have just been any other puzzle that required like a weapon use in any
Well,
other
that's the
game.
thing. I was thinking when you're playing it, if they just had the gear actually have like a, it doesn't recharge, something that has an actual ammo
Yeah,
to it.
yeah,
So it's like actually exciting to use it when you have ammo for it.
right. Yeah, I think that might have done more favors to it. This also had the bolt collecting, where you can just grind up enough bolts to get as many E-Tanks as you want, and it also had terrible permanent upgrades that only serve to
Oh, yeah.
counteract new mechanics that they
Handicaps
added in.
gave you.
Yeah, like shooting a charge shot in this knocks you back, unless you grind up 300 bolts and buy the upgrade that stops you from getting knocked back when you fire a charge shot. Yeah, this is below Neosense.
Maybe slightly better to do it that way than have the like the 2% increase that other games have.
I mean, yeah, but that's such a low bar.
I suppose.
Yeah. Alright, is there any other game? We've gotten through all the Mega Mans. Is there any other game on this list that you have any actual input on?
Resident Evil Village, I watched a Let's Play for that and thought it looked kind of
Village.
not good.
Village is pretty miserable because the entire time you're playing through it, you're being reminded that you're not playing through Resident Evil 4.
The bit that stood out to me was the bit with what's he called? Sigmund? The Heisenberg,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
it's like, there's a bit where just for a second he suggests something. I think, oh, this could be fun. He says, I've got this army of monster men and we're going to go like fight an evil witch or something. And so, yeah, this sounds good.
Yeah, and then
Then
immediately
just for no
he just
reason, it's
turns
like-
he just turns into like an evil asshole that is out.
No, it's not that. He was actually proposing something fun, and your specific character says, no, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
Fuck you, for no reason. So you can have like his stage, and it just
Well-
it's disappointing because you stumble into that guy's stage, which it looks like Killing Floor. It's really dumb.
Yeah.
And the whole time you think that actually this might have been fun if you were storming the witch's castle with like a bunch of monster men.
Yeah.
But Resident Evil never let you do that.
Well, they could have, because later on in the same game, you play as Chris, and you're just like going through a linear corridor of roads into the village with like an assault rifle, and you're
I
just
don't know. I
mowing.
feel it's maybe a Japanese thing where there's like it's a shocking reveal that you're a monster man all along. Oh my god, you were the monsters. You're a moldy man the whole
Right.
time.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, it's obvious. Who cares?
Well,
I wouldn't actually mind playing a game where you play as like Wesker and you're doing like Matrix moves.
yeah. I mean, that's
But-
Mercenaries.
Exactly, everyone loves the mercenaries, but I think it's like a thing of Resident Evil and maybe Japanese games in general. Like you're not supposed to play as like a mutant man.
But you always do, anyway.
It's sometimes a shocking reveal at the end as your guy dies.
Yeah.
So you can be like, oh, thank God.
Well, I felt like, oh, thank God, but only because the game was over at that point. I realized all I had to play of it was to grind up enough points to unlock the Infinite Magnum and shoot it a few times.
I thought it was funny in that it made me appreciate Resident Evil 7 more, which is an odd thing to say. But 7 had like a couple of ideas that I thought were kind of cute. I've said it before like 100 times and you're sick of me saying it. In
Yeah.
that, I like the bit where it's like Joe Baker or Jack Baker. It's just like a really friendly uncle who's like chasing you around the house.
Yeah, he was just
And he wants
having
to
a
wrestle
great
you?
time.
He's having a great time, and I actually quite like that. The game's not very good, and the rest of it's really tedious. But there's just these little bits where I think that's kind of fun.
Yeah, here's something that's fun. Watch this. Pow. And she doesn't even react,
Pow.
and then she turns around and looks.
Hmm?
I just pulled up the... You're probably lagging a little bit.
I am.
Yeah.
Fresh after this clip.
Resident Evil Village.
Yeah, there's a Killing Floor monsters.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's like, why would you copy Killing Floor of all games?
Well, and they also just have glowing weak points, and they don't do anything interesting when they get you either. They have a giant drill
Yeah.
on their arm, but all they do is hit you. Like
It's like the-
you don't get a
The
cutaway.
generators?
Yeah, you don't get a cutaway of like your chest being caved in by this giant drill. Oh, here we go.
Bioshock gave you that.
Here we go. The cutscene where you reattach your severed hand.
Like I say, I think 7 did that already, so it wasn't either like that funny.
I didn't play 7. I guess it's sort of like in Super Hot when you your final mission is they give you a gun, or a gun like appears outside your apartment, and they're like, you know what to do, and you have to shoot yourself in the head in order to beat the game. But they had already done that for you to finish a mission like halfway through the game. So it's
that
what,
crystal life-sized
yeah,
kind of thing around?
it's enormous. All of this
It's
stuff is,
grotesque.
all of this stuff is like oversized, but Ethan's still carrying it around, but then they're also still like trying to pretend like he doesn't have a backpack or anything. I love the Sonic Adventure thing with the giant fish guy Moreau.
Oh yeah, that's probably the highlight of the game. I'm the best.
Yeah,
because you don't expect it. The game's so miserable up to that point.
That's the thing, is that this game has like these flashes of joy,
Fun,
but
yeah.
they're like pushed down and oppressed by the rest of the game, where you can tell like whoever put in that moment was like a little nervous, or had to fight for it. Yeah. Resident Evil Village. Where should this go? I don't know. It's not technically a bad game, but it's very frustrating to play through because so much of it isn't a game. It's just like a cutscene where you have to hold forward to get to.
And it's got all the bits that remind you of Resident Evil 4, which is a bad thing to do. I wouldn't mind if they made like a survival horror game that was crap.
Yeah.
The other thing is, after Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 remake, sort of, that wasn't that great. Yeah, you had hope that they might actually make a good game, but then they come out with this.
Well, yeah, you get to see like, oh, you know, if these games had come out in the modern era and had access to like modern technology and stuff, like, but still had the same kind of design sensibilities, like how good could they be now? And then you get something like this where it's like, you know, what if Resident Evil 4 had like, you know, RTX, you know, NVIDIA enabled, you know, GTR super scaling textures, and it's like, well, this is just crap and boring.
I didn't think it was that graphically interesting either. I mean, looking at it now, it's like an ugly game.
Yeah. Yeah, and it wasn't particularly well optimized. I actually had to turn down fog effects because the couple rooms in the castle where like snow was blowing in through an open window or something just killed my frame rate. Yeah. So what on this list is worse than Resident Evil Village? Mega Man 5?
Mega Man 5? It's gotta be better than Mega Man 5 because
it's definitely more memorable, I think, than Mega Man 5.
It's memorable, it's interesting, and I'm never gonna forget a few parts of the game.
I'm the best!
I'm the best.
I'm the best! Yeah,
I didn't like that dumb propeller-headed robot boss, but that's still something that was distinct.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's like stolen from a music video or something like that, right?
What about
I think I heard that somewhere.
What about the tank? The like weird rigged together tank that Heisenberg had?
He had a tank.
Made out of a tractor.
I thought it was dumb because you set that guy up as, oh, he's got metal magnet powers. That's pretty cool. How are you going to beat this guy? Because you can just pull the guns out your hand. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, we made a tank and guns and engine and everything out of a special metal that he can't control. It's like, I think you could have had something interesting, like maybe get some sort of special weapon, like that's weird to use. Like maybe you have to go out with like a wooden crossbow or something like that.
Yeah.
To try and take him out. Yeah. That actually would have been quite interesting, but they decided, no, we're going to do that. And also, it feels like a guy that wears like a bow tie and a baseball cap and calls himself N-Dubs and loves cameras. It's the kind of thing he thinks is cool. Like a top 10 influencer kind of guy.
Yeah.
There gotta be a word for that kind of fella. What would you call that kind of guy? Not a hipster. A trust fund kid?
I thought it was hipster. I thought that's what hipster meant now.
Hipsters don't have to be rich. I think it's like there's a specific like it's that video, you know, the Sam Hyde one with the cheap Lambrusco wine fella.
Yeah.
It's that kind of guy.
Scum.
It's the kind of thing that. Yeah, scum. It's a scum that's trying to pretend to be something cool and down to earth, but he has no idea what that is.
Haffel says
it's that kind of person trying to be.
Haffel says you call that guy Riddy WW.
No, the thing with Riddy is he's right.
You heard it here, folks.
Ah, seriously, most of the time he's telling us stuff, he's right.
Yeah. Yeah, he won't ever hear this because he's fled to the darker regions.
Oh, he's still around. I hear about him occasionally.
Uh, Hype beasts. Spock's brain says they're called hype beasts now, but I don't think
Hype
that's
beasts.
right. I think hype beasts are specifically
No.
like younger kids.
Yeah, and they're a bit lower down on the ladder. They're people that want to be in that position, but they never will be. So
Yeah.
the kind of say stuff and they don't believe it because they're
Yeah.
hoping to rub off on them.
It's a lot more
Whereas-
about attention in general and less about like being regarded as having taste.
It's not even that. It's just about being wealthy enough to have these positions because your uncle knew the right person and you'd be able to convince people that's where you should be.
Mm.
So they sit around saying, "Oh, wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't it be proper cool if like you get into like this big tank and you have to shoot like the big monster man?" And
I mean, that just sounds like every AAA game dev.
that's what I mean. It's every AAA game dev. Ideas guys. But
Yeah.
ideas guys are rich enough to be in that position and they're sort of trying to prove a point.
Hmm. Well, so should Resident Evil Village go above or below Mega Man 8? Because that's what I'm looking at now.
Oh.
Because Mega Man 8's cutscenes are very much like some of the flashes of inspiration in Mega
Yeah,
Man
it goes
Village
below
or Resident Evil Village.
because there's a flash of inspiration in Village, but in between that, what I'm trying to say about all that stuff about the Hype Beast epic tank is that it's phony. It feels like someone's trying to be kind of like fun. Like they've seen Resident Evil 4, they remember the stuff that was really sort of genuine
And it's not
fun
really
and
their
cool.
idea of fun. It's what they think people will think is fun.
yes, exactly. That's what I was trying to say, but failing to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then doing Killing Floor, and it's just embarrassing.
I think I see that, and I agree. It's worse than in Mega Man 8, because in Mega Man 8, like, the anime cutscenes are clearly somebody thought, like, Mega Man needed anime cutscenes and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And they were so wrong, but they didn't know it.
Or rather, they paid loads of money for them, and by the time they knew it, it was like, well, I can't change the mind now.
Yeah, yeah, and now we have to dub them into English, and we have 3 days. We have 3 days to find somebody who can do Dr. Light. Yeah. All right, Resident Evil Village goes right there, right under Mega Man 8.
That's the right place for it.
Oh, all right.
It's got guns, so that makes it cool in Mega Man 5.
Yeah, it's got real guns. It doesn't have a super arrow. All
Oh, it
right.
doesn't have an N-bomb.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you call them crazy witches, and it sounds like he's about to say you crazy bitch, but then he doesn't, and then he does call her a bitch. I think at the very end. Hang on.
I do like the bad one-liners. I think that's one of the few things they did that I thought did right. Oh, what were they again? Like, they really... I gotta try and remember them, but it's like, they're obviously bad on purpose, but
What?
they still come across as quite sincere.
What?
I can't remember a single one, I'm so forgettable. But I just remember the fact that Ethan has one-liners, but they're like...
Oh yeah,
really
yeah,
bad.
yeah. Like he killed Lady D, and he goes, "You're the one who's cursed." And
Yeah,
that's
like
his,
that.
That's his big one-liner.
Like, I do think that was obviously intentional. Like, again, the same kinds of people probably think, oh, you're gonna have bad one-liners. But I think that actually is quite genuinely decent, because it's not like slapping you in the face with it.
No, it's terrible because when you have bad one-liners, they're bad one-liners because they're corny. It's not something that somebody would actually say in that situation. It's something that you throw into an action movie so that people like breathe a sigh of relief that the hero has done something or survived or whatever, and you let down the tension by having a little bit of humor there. That's what a bad one-liner is. These are bad one-liners in that they're not clever and nothing is relieved. It's just...
Yeah, but it gives Ethan a bit of character that he doesn't have elsewhere. Just that little bit of character he has.
No, it doesn't give him any character because the
That's what I mean.
lines are
He's got so little character
characterless.
becomes character. So little character becomes character. Because it
Uh,
reminds you in these moments, and it makes Ethan a protagonist. Otherwise, it would just be, a bunch of hands flying around the screen.
that's what he is, though. I don't.
That's
I
what I'm saying,
don't
that's
get
what he is,
any.
but he slightly gets above that when he does the one-liners. It's like, what's Ethan known for? It's inappropriate one-liners that make no sense and aren't really exciting. So,
how about this one? Daddy won't let those weird fairy tale monsters get you. That's a very Ethan line.
that is a very Ethan line.
but it doesn't. I don't get any character from it. I don't know.
No, I think mostly he seems like he exists to be boring.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm just pissed off because I keep thinking that it would be fun to team with the Monster Man and go fight a witch instead of him saying, no, actually I'm not going to do that because I need to have another video game stage.
I agree. But we've been talking about this for like an hour, and I'm gonna ask Big Biceps if he wants to do Dark Souls 2. So I'm gonna
that's all right.
I'm gonna cut you off because after I rope Big Biceps into this, I gotta go for a walk anyway.
That's all right. Well, I think we've done a great job reviewing these games.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Goodbye.
Love you. All right. Big Biceps. Do you want to do Dark Souls 2 now? It's up to you if you I got a cramp in my thigh from not moving. Well, go jerk off. I can actually close the stream now. Yeah, you were probably gripped. I mean, Christ, we talked about everything but the games that we were actually rating, for the most part. But we got it done. Where's Big Biceps? Do I have Big Biceps on Steam? Contractually bound to watch this for a bit longer. Well, yeah, it's actually running now, too, right? I'm talking to you. It is Dark Souls. It'd be funny to immediately quit and do something else. I mean, you're free to. I'm not holding anyone to this. Yeah, Big Bicep said he played through Dark Souls 2 pretty recently. Sorry, was on the toilet. Oh my god. She-Slup, did you hear that? Big Biceps heard you talking about Resident Evil 7 and how much you like it for like 2 hours, and he eventually had to go to the bathroom. What a sadness. Damn, it sounds like he reviewed the game without you. Where am I gonna get this invite? What is this music that I'm playing? Oh, this is Mega Man 7. Here we go. I think what I learned though was that I don't really play enough games anymore to review them. That's fair. That's fine. I don't think it's really necessary to play a whole bunch of games. Are you Beppo Grande? Is this you? Yeah, that's me. Okay. Do you have a mic, or are we just doing this in chat? I'm gonna throw out here, I probably don't remember what you said in the regular games played thread. I have a mic because I'm a gamer. Let's rock. What's going on?
Hey.
Did you mute the stream? Yes, you did, because I can't hear myself.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Alright, Dark Souls 2. You said you recently just played through this?
Yeah, I beat it like 2 days ago completely.
Yeah.
New
Like
Game Plus run.
completely as in you got all the crowns and did all of that stuff.
Yeah, everything. Did everything. All the DLC and everything.
One question.
And yeah.
Did you play through the original Dark Souls 2 with all of the DLC, or did you play through Scholar of the First Sin edition?
Skull of the First Sin.
All right, I'm ending the call now because no, that's also what I played through. I think that's. Can you even buy the original Dark Souls 2 online now?
I don't think you can.
Yeah, I think it's sort of like the remaster of 1 where they basically took it off the stores.
Yeah, I still have the original on my Steam account because I bought it when it came out, but it sucked so bad I stopped playing it after a few hours.
I have the original disc for PS3, which is
Damn.
even worse. I pre-ordered this, by the way. That's how badly I got suckered in.
That was a mistake, man.
It was really, really sad when I got home with this and started playing it and realized what was going on. So yeah, Dark Souls 2. I'm assuming you've played through Dark Souls 1 at least.
Yeah. Half a dozen times at least.
What
Huge
about
Dark Souls 1 fan?
What about the other From games? Have you played those?
I played the original Demon Souls on PS3.
Yeah.
And earlier this year I played Bloodborne for the first time.
Nice. So you haven't
But
played.
I haven't played Sekiro or Dark Souls 3 yet.
Yeah. And I'm assuming you didn't play through the Kingsfield games or Shadow Tower.
I didn't play through all of them. I played a couple of them.
Yeah.
But I don't think I beat any of them. I got pretty far in 2, I think. Or the first one on PS2, I think there was 2.
Yeah.
But didn't get too far.
The,
One near the end.
the reason I ask is because there's a lot of things. When I went back through and played through the Kingsfield games and the Shadow Tower games, after having played through like Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, I noticed there was like a cycle where they would play around with different elements and different ways of handling different mechanics, like healing. So like in Kingsfield 1, the English Kingsfield 1, you have the refillable healing flask. And then in Kingsfield 2, you still have that, but you have like more consumable healing items. And then you get to Demon Souls, and you have just the consumable healing items. Then Dark Souls, you have the Estus Flask. And then Dark Souls 2, you have the Estus Flask, but it's depreciated and sucks. And you have an assload of different healing items again.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to me seeing that this wasn't just... I don't think it's just a case of, like, the B team developing this and having no idea what they were doing. I think it was, like, them going back to older ideas and it just not working anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense, I guess. I mean, there are definitely parts of the game that are clearly unfinished, I think, or made by the B team.
Yeah. I mean, all of the stuff with, like, the ways all the maps fit together, which they don't, really.
Yeah.
A
The
lot
volcano on top of the poison windmill and stuff.
Yeah, the enemy and environmental designs are all real kind of slapped together. And then even the mechanical stuff with, like, the adaptability, the, like, weird granularity with equipment load and stuff like that. It's really frustrating to play through it because it looks identical in a lot of ways to all the other From games, but it doesn't play like them enough.
Yeah, I agree.
It's weird, like, looking at these clips and remembering all of the little details, like the fact that they changed how secret walls work in this one for no reason, where you have to, like, walk around using the activate button on walls, trying to find ones that, like, slide open instead of hitting them to find the, like, illusory wall or whatever.
Yeah, that's a really insane change. And what's really weird about it is also how many bonfires are hidden behind those walls.
Yeah,
Like at least a couple of them.
yeah, and it gets worse in the DLCs too. They put ones that are like literally you would need a guide to find them. Yeah. People are saying in chat, Holden and Endrite likes DS2, and She Slut thinks Spambot like DS2 because they're huge contrarians. I've noticed a lot of people talk about Dark Souls 2 as like either it's the absolute worst thing that From has ever made, which I don't think that's true. Those people have not played Eternal Ring. But also a lot of people saying that it's really underappreciated, which I don't think that's true either.
Yeah, I think as far as like the modern FromSoft games go, so all the Soulsborne games or whatever you call the conglomerate of all those games,
Yeah.
I think it's probably the worst one out of those.
Yeah. It definitely is. I mean, you can argue that, you know, Demon Souls is so old and rough that it's tough to get back into. And then of course you've got the remaster of that, which is only playable by the half dozen people who have a PS5. Yeah, Mac is barking. But there's nothing for him to bark at, so I don't know why. But were there any things that you found like were actually surprisingly good about Dark Souls 2?
I like power stancing as a concept, even if I didn't really use it. So
Yeah,
having the same weapon in both hands.
that's cool. I do think Dark Souls 3 handles it a little better by having the actual paired weapon sets. As a
Yeah, I haven't played 3 yet.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then
Also, something I kind of liked was how some of the supporting character quests were handled.
I'm trying to think of some of those. Like, you mean like Lucatiel of Mira?
Yeah, like Lucatiel. I really liked how they had you summon her for her quest, because I've kind of putting the summoning mechanic into a quest like that was pretty interesting, I thought.
Yeah.
Because if you play like Dark Souls 1 and do all the side quests with Sigmar and stuff, you never have to summon anyone.
Yeah, you're just kind of like running into them and giving them a token to progress the quest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Dark Souls 2 does have some good characters. It just doesn't do much with them. So like Lucatiel's memorable. Bell. What's his name? The guy with the fake moonlight sword.
Bernhard,
Borat.
I think. Bernhard, something like that.
Bernhard, I think. Yeah. Like he's interesting, and all of the different kings and stuff. Those are all good. It feels like there's more going on in the actual, like, actively going on in the world in Dark Souls 2, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Like, Dark Souls 1 and Demon Souls are all very, like, dead worlds. Like, there's nothing happening.
Yeah, definitely.
And Dark Souls 2, like, even though it's all put together really slapdash, it does feel like there's things still actively occurring, which is an interesting thing for this kind of game.
Yeah.
One other thing I liked is, speaking of the weapons, that they did more with the weapon art, where like some weapons will have like a special attack that is more like a spell or power or ability. And they went further with that in Dark Souls 3 by having them actually like cost mana to use rather than cost durability.
Yeah, that stuff's pretty cool, I agree.
Yeah. But then of course you've also got the fact that this this game doesn't have mana. It uses charges for spells, but then in addition to having like healing items, a bunch of different healing items, it's got a bunch of different consumables that restore your spell charges. So you can still kind of just like brute force through certain things, a lot like in Demon Souls.
Yeah. All the different healing items are kind of weird. I think you brought it up in your written review too. How there
Yeah.
are like 15 different ways to heal by the end of the game,
Yeah.
and you end up using like too many.
Well,
I never used anything but Estus flasks and life gems.
yeah, and then you just have like an inventory full of crap that you don't even know what it does because you've never used
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Dark Souls 2 is interesting to play through because there is a decent variety in build and stuff. Like, I don't know how you played through it.
That's something that they changed for the better too. That you could respec your guy.
Oh, that's
In the
right.
beginning.
I forgot about the respecs.
Yeah, that wasn't Dark Souls 1.
Yeah.
So I tried out a couple of different approaches, but I mostly just used a rapier and like a couple of spells.
Just poked from with shield up, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
How did you manage stuff like the dragon fights?
Usually just stay behind them and poke the legs a lot.
Okay. I didn't know if you like used like a buffed weapon or something.
I used like different resins
Oh,
because there's
okay.
also like 10 different resins for all the elemental
Right.
damage types in the game.
Yeah, that's something that reminds me of the Dark Souls 3 mod that I played, Convergence, where they expanded like the magic system into all these different like varieties, but then in order to try and cover all bases, they have like a resin for every damage type and a firebomb for every damage type and a thing for resistance for every damage type, and it kind of like mutes the differences.
Yeah. Although the thing with the resins is also a thing I kind of like because they're all sold by different vendors, and those are all over the place. They aren't all in Majula,
Right.
so you even later in the game you have a reason to go, like in a forest area where the head is on these rocks and buy some lightning resins from him.
Oh, right. What is his name? Vengarl?
Yeah, Vangal, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another interesting quest and kind of interesting character that is sort of a dead end because like it's really bizarre. He's a head that's alive and his body's also alive somewhere else, and you never encounter anything like that in any of the games.
Yeah, and I think he's just a normal guy. He's not like a wizard or something.
Nah,
Just A guy who randomly stays alive as a head.
he's so
It's pretty funny.
he's so strong that his body survives decapitation and so does his head. It's a very it's sort of like a JoJo's explanation for something. Like he's just so strong that he's just like he's like straining the muscles around his neck to keep from bleeding out.
Yeah, he really is.
Kind of awesome, honestly. Having played through Dark Souls 2 quite a few times now, I kind of appreciate it in the way that I appreciate stuff like Daggerfall, where it's clearly unfinished in a lot of ways, clearly rough, clearly they didn't think things through very well. But they did throw a lot of ideas on the plate, and you do get to kind of freely pick through them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's my main takeaway from Dark Souls 2 is that it's a very interesting game to think about and play through, and it's not that bad to play through either. Like, it's not a very frustrating game. It can be, but no more so than any of the other Souls games, just for different reasons.
Yeah, I think that kind of depends on your playstyle, of course. Because in the later half of the game, there are definitely a couple of areas that I found very frustrating.
Yeah, but like you mentioned, this was the first one that had actual respecs.
Yeah, true.
And even if they're limited, which I think they are strictly limited, I think there's a strict limit to the number of respec items you can get per playthrough. Although this does have bonfire aesthetics, so playthroughs aren't that
So
strict
nothing is really
either.
limited, yeah.
Yeah, nothing's strictly limited.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like Dark Souls 2 quite a bit. I'll definitely play through it some more, but now I think we should talk about where it goes on the list. And I don't know if you've even played or know much about most of these things.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't. I don't think I played any of the games that are on the list right now.
Okay, but where does your heart tell you this goes? Do you think this is better than Salt and Sanctuary? Because that's a good comparison point. The 2D Dark Souls knockoff with the like ugly frog-faced player characters.
I mean, I think I kind of got into it at the end of the game, and I wouldn't say that I like it, but I don't think it's bad.
Dark Souls 2,
So
you
I
mean?
wouldn't. Dark Souls 2, yeah. I did play Salt and Sanctuary.
Yeah.
So I would put it.
Above,
I don't know.
Above Salt and Sanctuary?
Maybe.
I don't want to put it above Clone Wars because Clone Wars has very funny cutscenes and it's also got the like RTS missions where you get to jump into a laser tank and shoot a bunch of what do you call them, the battle droids or whatever. So
Yeah, Dark Souls 2 definitely misses a tank level.
yeah, that
Or
would have
machine
been
gun.
cool. That would have been cool. Bloodborne has a machine gun, but you don't get to use it. Well, you do get to
There's
use...
actually
Yeah, there's
a
handheld
glitch
one.
now where you can use it.
Oh, really?
Or you can use the cannon and shoots like once every, or like 10 times a second with a crazy glitch.
Oh!
You kill the bosses in like 1 second.
I think
Pretty crazy.
I think I had seen something like that. Someone doing a speedrun using that glitch.
Yeah, I think they just discovered it a few weeks ago.
Okay. Well, there you go. So you do get to use a machine gun in that. But but that we're not doing Bloodborne. So saying put Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin edition above Salt and Sanctuary, mostly because it's not as ugly.
Yeah.
Also, I'll throw this out here. I did play it with a mod called Tales of Drain Lake, and that it said that it had like progression differences and stuff like that, and boss changes to, and the only things I noticed were like Covetous Demon moved faster, but it still wasn't any harder. Last Giant moved faster, but it still wasn't any harder. Like, nothing was actually substantially changed. And after, like, the first area, I completely lost track of what the mod changed and what was just changed in Scholar of the First Sin, so I don't really have anything to say about the mod. You played it unmodded, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I played it unmodded.
Yeah. So, that's it. Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin is number 12 so far. It can only go down, unfortunately. 'Cause, I mean, look at some of the stuff that's up here. Smashing Spirits, Brazil's First Boxer. Nobody played that. Nobody's going to play that. So, is there anything else on the main list that you played? Or want to talk about even though you didn't play it?
Well, I did also play Dark Souls 1 earlier this year.
Well, let's knock
But
that
it's
out. Let's knock that out.
Yeah, sure.
Nobody.
It's not quite as fresh in my mind, but I know it well enough, I think.
nobody else is.
I didn't
gonna
play
cheat on
with
this.
any mods though.
Well, I'll talk about the mod first then, because the mod is actually pretty good. It's called Age of Sunlight, and it does a little bit of the same stuff that like the Cinders mod and Convergence mod did for Dark Souls 3, but a lot less of it. So it adds like a lot more weapons and spells to kind of fill gaps in playstyles, but not to the excess where everything's the same. So like you'll notice there was a fire weapon buff, pyromancy. There was like a new spear that I had on my back there that was like a fire. I think it was like the fire centipede, centipede demon spear or something like that. Just a little bit more stuff to play around with, and then they did some balance tweaking with the different weapons to make some of the less usable weapons more usable. Nothing too extreme, but I did like some of the changes. And then they completely changed the way blocking works, which I mentioned this in the thread, but they made it so that there's a perfect guard, where if you hold up your shield with just the right timing, not as a parry, but just hold it up with the good timing, you completely negate damage, and it reduces the amount of stamina that you require for blocking. And you can even do it with like two-handed weapons and stuff like that. So it kind of turns it into more like Sekiro, and it's an interesting way to change the combat, but it doesn't work great, mostly because the hitboxes are still kind of wonky. So, and it does make it a little too easy to play defensively with like no shield, which is how I wound up playing it with the like Silver Knight sword here. But did you play Dark Souls after or before playing Demon Souls?
After.
Okay, so I think that's a big distinction for a lot of people, because Dark Souls is one of those games where a lot of people consider it like one of the best games, or at least like one of the best modern games. But I think a lot of that has to do with if they played it as their first ever game of this type. Because it does do
that definitely makes sense.
It does do a very good job of like being this open world, very tense exploration thing, but it's most impactful if it's your first time. And I played through Demon Souls first, and so a lot of this felt like a little bit of a rehash. Did you think that too?
Yeah, kinda. I mean, strictly mechanically, it was definitely very similar to Demon Souls.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it being an open, interconnected world instead of being a couple of archstones made a pretty big difference, I feel.
It does, yeah. I don't want to, shit on that, but I do think that like a lot of the specific situations feel a little bit too similar to exact things that happen in Demon Souls. I want to point out like man-eaters and the bell gargoyles. Like that's not.
Oh yeah.
That's not a big
or a dragon
surprise.
flying over a bridge and burning all the enemies.
Right, or like a lot of the platforming stuff, where like suddenly you have this narrow platform you have to tiptoe across, and maybe something's shooting at you, or you hear an enemy activation and it freaks you out. But
Yeah.
But again, like, a lot of it is just a repeat of stuff that they did in a game that very few people played.
Yeah, that's true.
But on the other hand, I do think Dark Souls in general did it a lot better in almost every way, and especially once you get into like the DLC stuff. I think that's where it really starts to shine how much thought they put into like the world design, when you start to realize that it's the same areas as in part of the base game.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
And then of course it's got like the giant rack here, which is great. Um,
But also the underground lake area by the dragon. That's such a crazy thing. Because I mean, there's basically nothing there. There's like I think a spell and the covenant that's completely useless.
yeah, yeah. Well,
And we won't even find it because it's hidden behind like 10 illusory walls.
yeah.
If you don't know where it is.
And the entrance to those illusory walls is at the ass end of a poison lake or a poison
Yeah.
swamp that you're never going to want to explore anyway. I've
Yeah,
said
I
it.
just saw the clip
Yeah.
of you finding the illusory walls, and it's really funny because the second one is hidden behind a chest. So
Yeah.
why would you even check behind a chest that's already behind an illusory wall?
Exactly, yeah. And I've said this before about this game. Sheeslop says he found it because he had been spoiled about mimics and was checking that.
Yeah, okay.
Which is fair enough. There's some other games where they put an enemy in front of something you're supposed to hit to find out. But I've said this before about this game, especially that I think what happened is there was a lot of cut content that they weren't quite willing to completely cut, and so they put it just in really obtuse like hidden areas, like the painted world, where you have to go back to you have to find the route up to the bird's nest in the Firelink Shrine and go there in order to backtrack to the tutorial. And then even once you get back there, that's all clearly optional stuff that you don't need to go visit and is out of the way. On top of that, you find the doll there, and then you have to take the doll to a very specific location in order to get the warp to go to this whole entire area. And I don't think, unless you were being extremely thorough, you'd ever find this area. And part of the reason, I think, is that it was the original tutorial area.
Was it?
Yeah. It, like, through data mining and stuff, they found that all of the indications for, like, which areas got built first are all for the painted world. And that it was supposed to be sort of the same structure as in the Undead Asylum, where you like go from this like small contained area to this next small contained area. You have a boss encounter and then you leave. But for whatever,
That's pretty cool.
I think they actually physically connect to in some way. I don't remember entirely. It's been a while since I watched the videos where the people showed stuff like that off. But what I'm getting across here is that I think they did a really good job of stretching the content they had, so that there was always more shit to discover in this, and it felt meaningful when you did find it, like when you find Ash Lake.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anything specifically bad that you can think of with Dark Souls 1?
I don't know. I guess the whole Lost Isolith area is pretty shitty.
Yeah, that's awful. I don't like Tomb of the Giants either. A lot of the late game stuff kind of falls apart as far as like the area design, I think.
Yeah.
And I also have a big problem with some of the boss designs. Like, obviously, Bed of Chaos is terrible, and the original Capra Demon boss fight is really bad.
Yeah.
But I can't hold it too hard against it, because there's actually a lot of content in this game. Like, it's a pretty long game.
Yeah, there definitely is a lot of content. And I also really like how it's designed around you skipping stuff if you know what's going on. Like even if you don't use glitches, if you pick a thief or the master's key,
Right.
you can skip like all the shadiest parts of like the sewers and stuff.
Well, and even beyond that, because of the way the world is structured, there's incentive for you to like run past stuff and like leave side areas for later, because it's not just like a linear stretch to get to a boss, right? There's
Yeah.
parts where you can like go off and like open a shortcut to some other area or go someplace before you fight the boss of this other area.
Yeah, and I guess in general, most of the bosses are just kind of boring. I mean, most of them have like one free-hit combo essentially that you have to dodge, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean
Aside from like Manus.
that's pretty much every From Software game, aside from maybe Sekiro, though, is that
Yeah, true. Same can be said about Dark Souls 2.
yeah, and it gets worse with the later games because they start going more and more into like the sort of character action stuff, but they don't know how to do character action, so instead it's just incentivizing dodge rolls.
Yeah.
So, well, let's go ahead and rank this. Dark Souls 1, I think it goes pretty high. But I'm going to say the same thing with it that I said about, like, Mega Man 9, which is I don't know if it goes above CHR dollar sign, because CHR dollar sign is a new, like, interesting thing, whereas Dark Souls now is pretty played out.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, that was easy. What about Mega Man 2? Mega Man 2 has amazing songs, but it's pretty crude to play through now and really punishing. And it's similar in Dark Souls 1, where there's like a handful of spots where it's just really punishing and not too fun to go back through. But I think it's less so than in Mega Man 2.
Yeah, well, I didn't play Mega Man 2, so I can't really comment on that too much.
That's fine. Nobody's really judging this on anything real. We're just kind of doing this arbitrarily. Yeah, I'm gonna say right there, number 5, above Mega Man 2, below CHR dollar sign. And I'm even taking into account the mod with this, which I think freshened up a replay of this game that I've played a billion times, just enough to where it wasn't tedious to go through. Because it did change a lot of things. It changed, like, Capra Demon. There's no dogs in Capra Demon's arena, and Capra Demon can now buff its weapons. So you're more incentivized to have an actual fight with them. And it did a few...
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it did a few other minor changes to enemies. Like, there are certain enemies that are, like, upgraded versions or, like, slightly changed versions that have new attacks. In fact, I think every enemy has, like, at least one new animation or attack. Which is nice, because you can still get caught off guard or, like, still see something that's interesting and not just know exactly how to trivialize everything.
Are those then special versions of those enemies, or do all of those kind of enemies have the new attacks?
It's been a while, so I don't really remember if every enemy has new attacks, but I know at least some of the enemy varieties, just in general, have new abilities or attacks, like the floating gargoyle statue things down in Lost Izalith that belch fire at you.
Yeah.
In this mod, they detonate when they die, so you kill them, and then it's sort of like the bugbears in Demon Souls, where you hear them like charging up and then they explode. So that kind of changes how you go through that area a little bit. So you're not just like cutting them down and then running past them. You have to like back off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, that's definitely a cool idea.
yeah, I liked it. I liked it. Yeah, I would say if you were gonna play back through Dark Souls 1 at some later date, but thought it would be a little too tedious to go through all the same stuff, I'd say Age of Sunlight is just enough of a difference in a lot of ways to be worth throwing onto your playthrough. I don't think it spoils anything, is the main thing. Like, I don't think it ruins Dark Souls. Well, that's that. And you never played 3, so you can't really. I mean,
Nah, not yet. I just started it.
yeah.
I beat like the the big guy who crawls around. Played it for like an hour.
Vort of the Boreal
Vort.
Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dark Souls 3, honestly, it's interesting because I feel like a lot of its ideas and themes kind of dead end even harder than Dark Souls 2's. Like, Dark Souls 2
Oh, really?
is just sort of like things scattered around willy nilly, but they're kind of scattered throughout the game. Whereas Dark Souls 3, it feels like they introduce stuff early on and then it just never pays off and never gets brought up again. It's kind of weird. Like, it's technically a much more competent game in a lot of ways, a lot more polished off, but it feels like it has even more unfinished ideas in a way.
Okay.
But I don't know. You'll see. You'll see. So I'm gonna go. I gotta go walk the dog. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I guess. Thanks for the stream.
Oh, no
Really,
problem.
really fun listening to your reviews and
Eight hours of me talking
general, I
about
guess.
Mega Man games.
yeah. I mean, I didn't listen to the whole thing, but it was pretty interesting.
Oh Jesus. Oh my heart. Oh. All right. Get out of here. Later.
Bye.
Well, that's that. That's Dark Souls, and we've been listening to Majula this entire time. Well, we're over halfway through. I've got 64 games, really, because I'm still working on Desperados 3. I'm gonna have to get Big Turd in tonight. Who else was coming in tonight? I don't remember. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll be back later today.